Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I do have a game running in the background. I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I put together a deck based on a deck list I saw online, and I'm letting it autoplay in this event against Paradox just so I can learn how to play the deck properly. I'm new to Yu-Gi-Oh!-ish, and so if I want to play more competitively, I'm having to learn different stuff. But while I do this, I wanted to talk about why I'm playing uh, mobile card games, as opposed to collectible card games, um, almost exclusively now. The only time I'm playing physical games is when I'm with my better friends, and that doesn't happen very often because of life moving us apart, all the way apart, across the country, in fact. But I wanted to touch on a few things, mostly because I wanted to start a conversation and see what other people thought as well. I've been playing physical card games for many years, and right now I'm just talking about collectible card games. I'm not talking about stuff like Cards Against Humanity or Munchkin. I'm talking about like Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I played when it first came out, and games like Magic the Gathering, which I've been playing for 20 years. And I still have Magic decks. That's typically what I play with my friends if I get together. And when I get the itch and can tolerate the community, I'll go to the local comic book store and play Commander, Magic the Gathering. But that's what I wanted to talk about, was the difference between mobile gaming and collectible card gaming, and how it has affected me and how I'm approaching it, and to start this conversation. So first, I want to talk about the community, because the community isn't always available. I live in an area in small towns, and I've lived in larger towns where there were comic book shops, or even specifically card collecting shops, everywhere. And it was easy to just go get a pickup game. Where I live now, pickup games are maybe on Friday Night Magic and on Sundays when they have like casual play and you can just meet people. But it's a very small community here. So the difference between being in a city or a town where there's a large community versus the smaller community, and sometimes it's just not practical. Also, it's not always the right game. You might play Magic and everybody else plays Magic, but they're all playing Commander and all you've got are modern decks, or vice versa. Or maybe, for whatever reason, because it's a small community like here, everyone's playing Pauper because they're just trying something different. I don't have any Pauper decks, and then it's a whole new thing. And then sadly, the last thing that happens with physical cards are toxic gamers. And occasionally you can get that when you're playing PvP on a mobile game, but it doesn't happen very often. The mobile games are very, very anonymous, and so typically you don't even talk to each other. Even when I'm playing on Arena or whatever, you can do the little automated messages where you can say things back and forth, and sometimes people just won't say anything, and that's fine. Here in Yu-Gi-Oh!, the only interaction you have with each other is you can use little phrases in PvP, but very few people do it. And you can send a thumbs up if you appreciated the game, but I've never received one, so I don't know how common or uncommon that is. The other big point is cost of entry. I've got a couple thousand cards in this game. No, I'm sorry, a couple hundred cards in this game, and I've spent $12, $15 maybe. In my other card games, about the same. I'll spend I think in Arena I've spent close to $100 over 2 years, 3 years, and in Puzzle Quest I've spent $50 or $60, which is nothing compared to what I've spent on physical cards. I've got Magic decks that are worth hundreds of dollars, and that I've spent hundreds of dollars on, just for a deck or two. And so sometimes it's just not worth it. And the times change. With physical cards right now, there's a lot of change in the way cards are handled and the way gamers are approaching it. If you play Magic the Gathering at all, and you watch YouTube videos, you're probably familiar with Tolarian College and the Professor. And the Professor believes very strongly that packs are not for getting cards. Packs are not for opening and finding cards. Packs are for drafting. Now, you're going to keep the cards you get in draft, but his idea, and I understand the logic, his idea is that you open packs to draft and play that game type. And then if you want a specific card, if you're building a theme deck, you're building a tribal deck, or you're building a deck around a mechanic, which is what I usually do, I build around mechanics, you just buy those individual cards. And as the community is moving toward that, it's made individual cards go up in price. For me, I like opening packs. It's like a journey, it's an adventure, and there's a payoff when you do get a great card. And sometimes you don't get the cards you want, but you see things happen. You read cards, you see art, you get ideas for new themes, you get ideas for new mechanics that you would never have been exposed to otherwise. With this also happening in the community, you'll see a lot of decks that are the same. Commander is the popular game around here, and you'll see the same commander multiple times on the same table, or different commanders, but they all have the same deck. And it's just, I don't know, I see more variety when I play mobile games. And so, many mobile game players will ask the question, why do I need physical cards? And I don't have an answer for that. There are benefits to going into the community and meeting gamers. There's always the fellowship, which is fun, and making new friends. But with mobile games, there's so much more selection. I can download multiple games, which I do. I can play a particular game exclusively for weeks on end, or I can jump around from game to game to game, which I do. And also, I don't have to worry about the time. I can jump into a game, play it for 5 minutes while I'm on my break at work, or if I'm doing Uber Eats and I'm in between calls, I play a game, or if I'm waiting for an order, I play a game. With physical cards, you have to set up time, you have to work around it. And sometimes it's prohibitive based on work schedules or family events and whatnot, and that just happens. And location, like I was talking about earlier where I live now. It's difficult. The nearest card shop, it's actually a comic book shop, is literally 45 minutes away from me. And the next nearest one is an hour, as far as the ones that I'll play at. There are 2 other shops that are closer, but going back to toxic communities, and I won't get into that. And the availability. I'm playing this event here now, and going back to the price of individual cards and how some stuff is just unavailable to you, because I can't afford $50 or $60 for an individual cards. And now we're seeing individual cards in the hundreds of dollars. And I'm not talking about legacy stuff. I'm talking about stuff that's new. But in this silly event that I've been playing through, I just want to show you something here while we get through this. And sure, these cards aren't the greatest cards. I have, in fact, used a couple. Let's go here and cancel out of this. Thank you very much. Results complete. We'll get there. I swear we'll get there. Proving my point. Okay. Treasure box. Rewards list. These are the cards that I have been awarded. And look at these numbers. Tons of cards. Most of these are going to get converted to gold so that I can trade with the trader later. But this was a free event. I bought packs to build a deck for this event. I will admit, like I said, I spent about $15, I think. But, okay, so we're done with the cards. Look at the numbers on these cards. In the tens here. Yeah, and tens and dozens here. And then as we get into, the rarity, the super rare cards, and I'm still collecting 9, 7, 8, 9, that's funny, in a row. And then these being the ultra rares, I still collected 3, 3, and 4, and then more super rares, 9, 8, and 7. That's also funny. In a free event. And these will get converted at the trader, and I don't know if you know this game, but then it works toward in-game currency, and then I can get the cards that I want. Doing that in the real world is next to impossible. You open packs, and if you get dull rares or dull mythics that nobody wants, they're 50 cents, 25 cents, maybe $1. Trading them for stuff you actually want is next to impossible. But then you lose the adventure of opening packs. I got to open packs in this game, and it was fun. I got to see new cards that, well, I don't know a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, so almost everything was new to me. But it was exciting to see the cards and think of concepts and try and build stuff. Eventually, I did go online and find some suggestions, which is the deck that I was using now. And I didn't buy those cards. I traded them with rewards that I got from this, here, let's go back. Treasure box. Oh, it might be under cumulative rewards. Yeah, let's close this. Cumulative rewards and obtained. So you look through here, and anywhere you see, I know they're here because I got them. There's still cards that I got. Anyway, you get, oh, I must have been collecting them in another fashion. There are other events going on also, but I got tokens to exchange for rares and super rares and such. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble and get away from my original thought, but it's why I've been playing mobile games, and I'm curious what everyone else thinks. It's a conversation I've had with my best friend, and like I say, he and I don't get to play games with each other anymore. There are mobile games that we try and play with each other, but with the 3-hour time difference, it's hard for us to set up times together, and with our work schedules, it makes it difficult. And that's when we're trying very hard, and that's with mobile games where we have more availability. And so think about trying to do that physically. Now, if I lived closer, we might be able to set up a time or a day and hang out for a couple of hours, but it would be something that we'd be working out together, not having to rely on a card shop setting a specific time for everybody. And there are elements of physical cards that I miss. There is something to be said about touching the cards and having them and looking through them, which is fun. And you don't get that with mobile. But with mobile, almost all of the cards are at least available to me. I don't have to worry about spending dozens, hundreds of dollars, even, if you get into the super competitive decks, even thousands of dollars for decks. And I'm not sure where else to go with this. I think I've kind of reached the end. Thanks for listening to me. I'm surprised I'm under 20 minutes because my videos typically run long, and I apologize, but I just wanted to get this out there. I would like to hear what other people have to say, what other people think and have to say, whatever the word is. So please feel free to comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.